Okay, let's get into it. Whew, it has been a hot minute since I did like a sit down film video before. It was like I've been only doing travel and collaborated vlogs this whole year. I really forgot how to do this, but I started getting some water. Okay, I needed that. I really did. Okay. Are you a part of the culture? Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Daphne. If you've made it to this video, you're probably in the same position that I was in last year. I remember when I first heard that I was selected to do my exchange in Canada. First of all, I was very excited because an exchange is a very important thing where you can learn. It's not only learning academically, it's also like a school of life, because this was my first time going to be living on my own outside of my parents' guidance. So I'll be doing everything on my own, budgeting, eating, and all of that. Which this time last year, I was a bunch of nerves. It was chaos. I was trying to think of what documents do I need? Do I have this? Do I have my healthcare? Do I have my what am I gonna do for data when I'm there? All of those questions, like how will I navigate the city? I don't have any friends. I don't know anyone in Toronto. I had never even been to Canada before deciding to do my exchange there. So all of these thoughts were going through my head, like what do I need? What do I need to do? And it was a mess. It was a lot of Googling and a lot of that, and not everything gave me everything I needed. To save you all the trouble, I'm going to be giving you a few tips that I wish I would have known before embarking on my exchange journey to Canada, more specifically in Toronto. First thing first, I have a whole list. So I'm going to be bringing out a student's best friend, and you're going to be going through everything bits by bits so I don't forget anything. Before leaving, a few things you need to have settled down is your accommodation, and it's different depending on the budget you have and whatnot. I would recommend, if possible, to try to get a place with your campus, like a campus residence. There of course are pros and cons to this. The pros is that most campuses have like a package including meal plan, and also the location is usually much close to campus, if not on campus itself, so which saving a lot of cost on transportation, because this can add up if you're doing this very often. And not only that, but you're in a great position to make more connection because you're closer to people who are on uni. So if you're meeting up with someone, it's easier and you're more inclined to say yes, but more on this later. So if possible, I recommend getting a place on campus, but with because I did my exchange at Humber College in Toronto, and the campus residents there also, they weren't like that expensive. With that expensive, I mean they were, I believe, I'm not sure exactly, but I put everything in my what I spent in a day in Toronto video here. I made a breakdown of every course that I had, but I do remember, I think it was around 4,000 Canadian dollars, if not 5,000, including the meal plan. Bad thing about this, they don't let you, when you're international students, especially coming for an exchange, they don't let you pay monthly, so you have to pay all your exchange for the semester in one go. Yeah, and I know this won't be feasible for everyone, so that's one thing to keep in mind. Maybe every campus has a different policy, but for mine, that was kind of a thing that I learned about last minute. Another option for accommodation that you can go for, like I've had students that do rent an Airbnb with other students, but then for this you need to know who else you're going to rent a room with, and if you don't know anyone in the country, you might be taking a risk because you don't know in terms of hygiene and in terms of what person you're going to be living with. It might be a bit risky. Because I remember the campus, but also on the other hand, some of the campus residents, you also have roommates, but here they're more vetted already for you by the university, and if something goes wrong, they can always step in to give you a different roommate. And also with my residence, I remember I only had like the more expensive option that was available with the campus that I went on based on the subject that I chose. And here we had like a two room apartment where everyone had their own room and only shared the common area and the bathroom with one more girl. Thankfully she was clean, so that was a really amazing experience on my side. And with Airbnb, I think like this will be a bit harder because depending on who you rent it with, you have to share everything with more people. But could be a very nice budget alternative, but also temporarily, because I don't think you're going to find an Airbnb that will be available for the full 4 or 5 months that you'll be doing your exchange. So you might need to rent multiple. So it's also it's also unreliable on that front, as you need like to think about what to do over the next month and stuff like that. But that's also an option. Other things that I've had people doing were living with host families, which wasn't didn't feel like it's something for me because I like my privacy. yeah, but that was something that you could look into. But if depending on what university you go with, they usually have like a section on information on housing. But here the biggest tip, I think by this point, is kind of on the late side, because you have to start as early as possible, because Toronto is quite hard to get housing there. Another thing that I would have told my previous self before going to Canada, if it's still possible, is to think carefully about what subjects you're choosing. Because going into the exchange, I went from it with an academic point of view. Of course, I wanted to have fun as well and meet new people, but I really wanted to also to improve academically. So I chose subjects which I felt like aligned well with my current subjects I had here in the Netherlands. And so I chose quite some of them were quite hard subjects, because I wanted to challenge myself academically. But especially if you're going on exchange and you're going to travel and enjoy move around, I felt like I had a harder time. Although if I'm being honest, the Canadian system, at least the one I was at college, is much easier than that system. I felt like I still had a slightly harder time with my studies than my other exchange friends, who chose more of a fun or easier subject. But what I'm trying to say, I feel like I'm rambling on so long, is that don't make your exchange too hard for yourself if you don't have to. If you can choose simpler subjects, just go ahead and do that. If you can choose subjects where you don't have, because you can look at the syllabus of every, at least for most universities, you can see the syllabus before you start. Then it can already tell you what type of like tests they assign. So if you can already look at a subject at quizzes in some sort of essay, if you're good at essays instead of exams, because those are much easier to pass, of course, and also some even quiz in terms of like making like a creative assignment, like a video or something like that. So look into some of those classes, especially because if you want to like travel around and enjoy your exchange to the fullest. Just think carefully about what class and what exactly you want to achieve out of the exchange. If you want to become like improve yourself academically, then go for the hard subject. But if you also want to have some downtime to like explore and all of that, be more intentional with your subjects. Back to the actual like big tips. I have like 10 main big tips for you. One of them is public transport hacks. So one thing, you've just arrived to Toronto. First thing you need to get before you get your bed sheets and your housing and stuff for your apartment or place, go to your nearest Shoppers Drug and get your Presto card. So your Presto card, you can also get to other places, but this is the most convenient one you can get it at. Your Presto card is some sort of like Dutch convenient of an OV. I don't know if you're from the Netherlands, if you're not. It's just like you can put money on this and it will allow you to use public transports seamlessly. Because others you have to pay for every fare, and that ends up being more expensive if you have your own Presto card. So with this, you can use the TTC, which is the transportation system in Toronto. Here you have the subways, the metros, the buses, and all of that. So this is your first go-to. Because I remember my first few days I was using Ubers like there is no tomorrow. Like I believe in my first week I spent like, I don't even want to say how much I spent in my first week just on transportation, but it was in the hundreds. Yeah, let's not do that. No. Money to reload your Presto card, you can either do it at your nearest subway station, but there's a machine there. Otherwise you can do it online, but this you would need like a credit card or some sort of MasterCard. So if you're from the Netherlands or German and use Maestro, this would unfortunately not work. So keep that in mind. So speaking of that, also another thing, while moving to budgeting and saving money in general, one thing you should know, just like a physical thing, the card system is different. Like if you're from the Netherlands, you have, like I said, and some parts of Germany use the Maestro card. This is not always accepted throughout the US as well as Canada. So for this, I mainly use like Apple Pay, because Apple Pay you navigate, you go around it. But otherwise, just you can look into getting a credit card if you can. And if you can't get a credit card, then you can look into using apps like Revolut. Revolut is like a temporary card that you can use or send money from your normal account to it, and that way it's like some sort of a Visa card. So it's like a Visa card or Revolut. Think about getting those, like, because your card may not work at most of the places, and then that will be a big convenience. Another thing that I regret I spent a lot of money on was internet. Going into Canada, of course, as you are new, you need like data to move around, navigate everything, and move around the city and be in contact with your family. Because my mom was so worried about me being in Toronto, she literally called me like every day or multiple times a day. So I needed like to always be able to pick up, even if I wasn't like near campus or in school where I had internet. So first things I did, of course, I got a SIM card there, and then you pay like a subscription. But subscriptions in Toronto are so expensive because I believe I paid around between 50 and 60 Canadian dollars a month for my subscription for just like 10,000 MBs, which is decent, but it wasn't unlimited or anything, and a few calls. Because my full purpose going in, I was like, I'll get a SIM card, and if I need to call someone, I can call them. But I can count on one hand the number of times I actually dialed someone directly, like not using WhatsApp or anything like that. So that was a big waste of money. And one thing that my other exchange students did that I also recommend you to do is get yourself an eSIM, especially if you're not planning on calling anyone. And if you do, you can always use the reception at your residence or someone, or ask a friend or something if you're going to call within Canada, because for them it doesn't cost that much. It will save you a lot of money if you get an eSIM. And if you're planning on traveling around to America and Mexico and other parts of North America, you can look into getting like a bundle that works in all those countries. That will be like the fifth of what I paid for sure. If you look, there are a lot of options, and I will try to link a few for you in the description box down below. Ask my exchange friends ones that they use, and I will link a few of them for you in the description box. So yeah, that's basically a game changer there. Speaking of saving money, that you might look into shopping at in the first place is No Frills, because I had, again, me being me, I went to the nearest nearest 24/11, and there was another one near my campus because they're open like 24/7. So I was like, that was like something I've never seen before, so I was so excited, and I went to do my groceries there. My roommate laughed at me when she found out where I do my groceries, because I was paying double of what other students pay who know that to look for the deals and go to No Frills, because No Frills usually matches the prices of other supermarkets. So that way you know that you're getting the best deal, because they try to aim for the lowest price in terms of with their groceries. So for supermarkets, No Frills is your guy. Hey, I know my campus, part of that, if you want to live on residence, part of that was that you get an included meal plan. Although the meals weren't always as delicious, that weren't for my taste buds, to put it nicely. I would say you do save a lot of money if you use, especially like in the beginning, try to first finish the money on your meal plan. And somebody didn't even manage to finish it at the end. First to finish the money on your meal plan first before going out. So only go eat out. Like when you go out with like friends or something like that, or like when you have to. But for the most part, try to rely on your meal plan, especially like on my campus and most campuses in Toronto. You can use it at multiple places like cafes, restaurants, like all within the building. So try to use that as much as possible. It will save you a lot of money, especially in the first few months, because before you know it, you spend absolutely nothing on eating outside, or the bare minimum, and you can save that money and use it in the end to do other activities. So yeah, definitely that. And also now, as it is in winter and you're going to be there for most of the winter, if you're going for the spring semester, there are a lot of things you can look. If you want to go like to the really nice places like the CN Tower, and want to have dinner at the restaurant there, and all of those really cute and fancy places, look at the local websites to see about their winter leisure deals. Usually, because of people don't want to go out in the winter can be quite harsh in Canada. They make their regular places cheaper, like they have like winter options, or like part of their menu is like a half a price or cheaper for what they call the winter leisures. So if you want to eat somewhere fancy, or just want to have something outside of campus, like I said earlier, try to look at the winter leisures deals, because there are a lot of like really nice deals that are much cheaper than they would normally be if it was warmer weather or with regular weather. Another thing, I really cannot stress this enough. I swear if you previously watched this, get a freaking filter for your water. I need to close my laptop for this one. Get a filter for your water. Me, coming from the Netherlands, I'm used to like our tap water is drinkable, and it tastes to my taste buds, it's really nice, and you're testing any chemicals, good. So going into Toronto, although they say that the water is safe for you to drink, it just smells like You know when you go to a pool, it just smells like chloroform. Like, you know when you go to the pool and you accidentally swallow the water there? That's how it tasted like to me. And I don't drink soda. I can't handle soda or soft drinks. I usually drink juice or water. So I'm a very big water drinker. That's my source of hydration for the whole day. So instead, I couldn't drink the tap water in Canada because I just couldn't. So me being that spoiled brat that I can be, instead of like just buying a filter, I use all my meal plan money. I kid you not, I think I use like 40 or 30% or big significant amount of my meal plan money buying water on campus. Yeah, I didn't even buy it at no frills or anything. I just bought it on campus because it was more convenient. But that was a big waste of money, because that money I could have had multiple dinners and multiple lunches and whatnot, but I just spent it all on water. But some campuses have like those the filtered station where you can fill up your water bottle, but depending on how many people are using it at the same time, the levels can go from basically the same as tap water or to being really clean. And I got really unlucky that every time that I went was when everyone was going, so the water wasn't that clean. But you can buy yourself like a filter from Amazon for like barely nothing, and it will save you a lot of money instead of buying the bottles of water yourself. So if you're a water drinker, buy yourself a filter. You can always sell it at the end to someone else. So I also mentioned earlier that you should take advantage of Winterlicious deals and stuff like that, and discounts and all of that. But also keep in mind, while you're doing this, you can also take advantage of your school offerings. And especially for exchange students, like with my school, the business faculty wasn't that big, and they had apparently the biggest budget. So they included us in all the activities that organized for the other students, for the regular business students. Because I remember even going a ski trip from them, a few basketball games from them, as well as watching American football, I think a couple of times, basketball games, like the professional ones, all for free and all of that. And even like so all of that, just say yes. All I'm going to suggest, say yes. You're already outside of the country, meeting new people. That's already a big step you're taking. So being cooked up in your room, trying to call your parents, they're going to be there when you come back from your trip. When the school tells you have this, just say yes. Don't just go. Of course, with common sense, use some distance, don't do something dangerous. When you organize stuff, don't be too cool, don't be too coy. Just take the free deal. Take the free outings, because you have fun and it's free. Okay, next. Yeah. So socializing and making friends, as well as networking and building connections. One big thing when you're going to exchange that you're very scared of is you're leaving all your friends and all your family in your home country, and you have to just make new friends all over again. It's basically like going to high school all over again. You have to, you know anyone, you need to make friends. So some tips to make like connections really quickly. Of course, the popular ones, like I said before, just say yes to every school event they organize, because you never know how many people you're going to meet. Another thing, of course, you can think about doing is joining the social clubs. All of the schools in Canada have like their social clubs for different, some even have like different ones for different faculties. So just sign up. Usually you have like to pay like a small fee, but the fee is like $5 or something per a year, which barely anything. And they organize a lot of events that you can either go to, or they have like a lot of opportunities, or like study landscapes and spaces that you can utilize by being a member. So definitely take advantage of this. Next to this, also, if you live on campus residence, usually the campus residence organizes a lot of things for the people who live in it. So those are all free opportunities for networking, as well as most of the time you even get like free snacks and free food. So take advantage of all of those. Yeah, basically my motto going to exchange, just say yes, with common sense, of course, but just say yes. You want to go here? Yes. Don't, if you have nothing going, just say yes. You never know what can come out of it. And of course, when you're making friends, it sounds bad for me to say, but try to focus on making international friends first instead of like the local Canadians. What I mean by this, you'll be like, definitely, and Canadians nice, what are you talking about? But what I mean by this, just think of it like this. I myself being a student here in the Netherlands, when you're making friends on university, you want to make friends with people who are going to stay longer. Usually when I'm making friends, I usually make like other Dutch friends, internationals who are staying at school longer, but exchange people who are going to leave. Usually, unless you find that you're connected, you have a really strong connection with that person, you usually don't try to put a lot of time in that relationship, because it's temporary. No, they're gonna go back to their country, and that. So at least that the experience that I had when I was in Canada, I saw that it was easier to make friends with other, also your own same level of thinking, because you have this romanticized image of the country already, and the fellow locals already. Usually they don't. For example, because when I was going to Toronto, I was like so excited, so many things to see, and every Canadian was like, it's cold, there's nothing going on, there's nothing to do. And all the international students, because we're still in the same mindset, or at least they were in that same mindset when they're starting out, they usually are like, oh, let me take you here, you should try this, you should try that, because they can't put themselves in your shoes because they've been where you are right now. And also the other exchange, they're also looking to explore, so more people for you to explore with. So that's why I would say try, if you're making friends, other exchange international students, then the Canadians, in that order. But if you want, for example, if you came to Canada to improve your language skills and you want to hang out with Canadian people, you don't want to hang out with people who speak the same language as you, then your order can be different. But I find for authenticity and for like longer relationships and relationships that are going to benefit you throughout your exchange, and even after, other exchange are best to approach first before the locals. So yeah, that's why that tip. If you're exploring, of course, Toronto, you want to find out the hidden gems and everything, or just go explore the city beyond the tourist attractions and the top places. I found this quite later on in my exchange, like I think a month, 2 months or so into it. But there are like Instagram pages like To Do Toronto and some other apps that you can check to see, like, because they usually have recommendation of what is happening in the city, things that you might not know about, like St. Parties and all those festivities, because Canadians go hard on celebrating any and everything. I think it's like a more of a North American culture. They celebrate everything. Is it Friends Day? They go all out. Is it Valentine's? Even if you're not in a relationship, they're gonna go all out. So if you use TikTok, which I don't, I'm pretty sure there are also recommendations on there. But I know like on Instagram, To Do Toronto usually had like a lot of updates of things that you can do that are more non-tourist, like are more for the locals that are around Toronto that you might be interested in. Again, if you're going in the spring winter semester, one thing that I was definitely not looking forward to is how cold Canada can be, because I'm African. I cannot do anything below 20 degrees Celsius. That's just freezing to me. And I remember one time it was minus 19 degrees Celsius. I was freezing. But yeah, the things that I did actually that helped me like survive the weather. So not only do you have to worry about it being extremely cold, but it can also get extremely hot. It's like the weather is unpredictable, more so like that, but different in a way. Layering is key, because you can have like a really cute outfit just because you layered up really well, you still look good and don't freeze. I always, every time it was like below 0 degrees, I always had like something under like my pants and some top under like my top on this, and then I also have like a 2-3 layer rule. I have to have 3 layers on before leaving the house. So that's how I avoided a cold and all of that throughout my time in Toronto. And of course, I was also packed for some warm weather, because you might think, oh, I'm going from January to May, it's not gonna be that warm. I'll buy some summer clothes when I get there. It was actually just out of nowhere. I remember because we're traveling around. When we came back to Toronto, I was coming we went to Mexico, and then we went to New York and a couple of times in North Carolina to visit family. And I remember I came back and it was just 30 degrees out of nowhere. The week before it was -5. The whole week we were on the beach, the whole week. So also packing some buckiness, you never know. With Canadian weather, you really never know. Sometimes it blesses you in a way. In one day, you can have 5 weather conditions, so you have to be prepared for that. Also, some adequacy you should know that, of course, culturally, and as an international business student, this is my jam all the way. Of course, because Toronto is the most diverse city in the whole world, there's a lot of various people you'll be working with and meeting and talking to. So I expected, because North America, that they'll be very punctual, because similar to Dutch culture. But that is not always the case, because it depends on who you are with. Because some people are have let's say in Indian heritage, or some more Asian, where time is not that important to them. So because I remember the first couple of classes that people were coming in 20 minutes in towards school. In the Netherlands, you don't even dare. When it has been 5 minutes, okay, some people will lag in 10 minutes, oh, my train was late, this and that. But 15 minutes, they not even bother coming, because not professor's gonna let you in, and there's not like they're gonna lock the door or anything, but it's more like an unspoken rule that you don't come in. It's just too late. Kind of just coming in whenever, they leave whenever, they have their jacket. It was like it's a more of a laid back. Also, at school, in general, I feel like it was a more of a laid back thing. Even with their outfits, they usually come in with their pajamas. Simply, I kid you not, with pajamas, socks, and slippers. They just roll into class. That is, in Europe, that is not done. You come dressed up, makeup done. Okay, some people, of course, not everyone is mandatory to wear makeup, but you do kind of feel like you're not dressed well enough if you don't have it all together at school. Because we just come. Because I remember they even had like our Canadian like friends. They had this at the Europeans. We always dress like we're going on a fashion show, but just that's how we usually do it in Europe. You just dress up for school. You wake up, you have a shower, you get dressed, you leave. Doesn't matter how late you're running. You try to put yourself together and kind of just show up. They're like, I'm here. Yes, so that's something that I had to get used to. And also they're less direct, because maybe it's more because I'm used to that Dutch are very direct. I feel like in Canada they try to spare everyone's feelings. So even if like in the project work, for instance, here in the Netherlands, you would be, of course, without hurting someone's feelings, you try to tell them like, hey, you're not participating in the way we said. If you don't improve, you're going to have to tell a professor, we're going to remove you from the project. Here they just go around, but maybe his parent, maybe it's just like it's all indirect, and then no one wants to really say anything. So that's definitely something that you need to keep in mind. And if you're too direct, it can come across as being rude because they're not used to that. And same on that, one thing that I did notice, maybe it's like more of an observation from me, I felt like everyone says how nice Canadians are, which some of them are, but I feel like they're very nice, but they're not kind, if you understand what I'm saying. They're very superficially nice, like, hey, how are you doing? When they meet each other, it's like, oh my god, how are you doing? I've missed you, and all of this. But behind the scenes, there's really nothing, to facilitate this. Yeah, they're very kind to each other's faces. I feel like are not very, and even if they don't like each other, which I would prefer the Dutch culture. And if someone doesn't like you, they usually let you know. They don't try they won't like be rude to you or anything, but at least not all the time. Of course, there's some weirdos, but they would not try to talk to you. So, but in the Canadians, you never really know where you stand with them, because they treat everyone so the same. So you don't know if you're being the same because they're nice, or they're being the same because they like you as a friend, or what I'm trying to say, and all of that. So that's definitely something that I had some time to getting used to. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I usually prefer when rules are very clear. You like me, you don't, and we're all good. So definitely something that I had to get used to. Now this is getting too long. But in terms of health and wellness, of course, your mental health is equally as important as your physical health. In terms of physical health, most universities have like a gym and other sports-related things for you. Take utilization of everything. My motto on it, as long as it was free, I was taking it. Like, because they had a lot of like really like those really high classes, like yoga classes, Zumba classes, like all of that. Go. When I was free, I was just using everything. And next to this, the gym, of course, and the facilities related to that, they usually had like basketball games or badminton games that they organized for students, especially those that lived in the residence. In the beginning, I didn't really go to this because I was like, yeah, I don't want to be the only one there without anyone. But I feel like it was kind of stupid, because that's where you're supposed to be meeting people. Just go introduce yourself. No. One thing to look at it, because when I was on next year, I was like, these people probably won't even remember me by the time I leave. I'm gonna be here for 6 months. I probably won't see them ever again. So if there is a time for you to feel stupid, to just think that cringe, it's a time to do it, because no one is gonna judge you, because even if they do, they won't remember you. They won't even know you. So like people that here in your home country, you might be living with the same people who would tell your aunt or whatever. But these are people you will never probably see again. So just do whatever. Just do it. Don't underestimate. Just do it. Tied into that, if you take care of your physical health, you also kind of take care of your mental health. Instead of like studying constantly and all of that, just take time to if you want to go to a gym, to improve yourself physically, to feel more confident. And also, of course, working out your body also works up your mind at the same time, especially for me when I'm on a treadmill and I just run everything through and all my thoughts just go wild. It's just amazing. And of course, take some time to also enjoy. You're not only, that's why I say be careful what subjects you choose. Don't only study, but also balance it out with some fun. Because all work and no play makes Jack a what? Exactly, a damn boy. My camera kind of cut off. I don't know where we ended, but let's try to wrap this up. But I do believe I ended with the physical health, and of course, you're taking care of your physical health also takes care of your mental health. So try to find sometimes relax. My campus was located near the Ontario Lake, so taking walks around the lake, like when I was feeling like a bit, especially when you start to miss your family and you see all your friends like having fun without you, you feel like excluded, and also trying to manage like school, of course, with everything. It can get a bit overwhelming. So just take a few breaks, take some walks, go to the gym, of course, provided it's your type of thing, to kind of distress. Or if you are more artsy, go to an art class, poetry, anything that can distress you. Like everyone is different for everyone, but also take care of your mental health while you're doing this. And other things like events and festivities that you should know about. There are, like I said before, the North America market in general, they celebrate every holiday. Like, so one last big tip I wanted to leave with you to have like your smooth landing in your exchange, of course, is because I feel like with proper planning, everything is possible. Like this is the biggest chunk of your exchange, and you can use apps such as Notion, Slack, Monday, Google Maps, Microsoft Maps. Why am I saying maps? Apple Calendar, Microsoft Calendar, or any regular calendar that you want, anywhere that you want to do it, like to kind of plan like your school year. Like I said, most schools have like a rubric where you can select when your exams will be, and if you don't see them in there, usually in your first day of classes, your professor would give you like a kind of a timeline of when you can expect what assignment and stuff. So you can use that like kind of like your holy Bible to know like to plan out everything. Because I kid you not, I even feel embarrassing this in case my mom sees this video, but I spent more time at the Toronto airport than in most of my classes, some even all of them combined together, and I still passed all my classes with flying colors. The key thing to this was planning. When you especially because with that system, you usually have like one big exam at the end of the semester for every class that you have, and then in between you have like a coursework here or something like a group to see like how well you work in a group. But for that main chunk, just study towards the exam at the end, and if you plan everything, you usually pass. And the Canadian system, although I feel like it's much easier, that's why I managed to pull off, basically going to classes and passing everything well. It's because they have a lot of like smaller assignments. They have what they call the high stake exams, which are like 20%, 30%, like a midterm and like a finals. And then they usually have like the other 50% or 40% is usually spent on like small assignments here every single time, or like sometimes they have like a small coursework that is about 20% or 15%, and then the others they split between attendance and doing your homework. So your homework, so basically the point I'm trying to make is if you know like when you have what, you can see what you're willing to offer in terms of like if you want to like travel more or like use more time to party or do whatever, and oh, I cannot always make it to classes, then you're okay, like I'm going to lose 5% automatically just by not going to classes, and then you can focus like budget your time in a way, plan your time in a way to see like, okay, I would need 1 week or 2 weeks to properly study for these finals, so to make sure that I have a good grade on it so that my grades are saved. One thing you should also know, like as a person who wants to like pursue a master's after my studies and they look at your average and stuff for that, in most countries in Europe, actually, or I think all of them, your exchange does not count towards your average, like that the school would look at for your GPA. So because of this, sometimes it counts, but only if it's in favor for you. So because of this, you don't have to worry about getting the highest grades on everything. Of course, it will be nice if you can, but you don't have to worry about getting the highest grades. You just have to pass your exchange, because all they grade your exchange in general as a pass or fail. It's not like a graded thing, at least in Europe mainly. You can look into your university to see how this is, but knowing this, that means you can focus on just doing everything. As long as you pass your classes, you're good. But of course you want to do well for yourself maybe, but if all you need is to pass, just pass, please, and enjoy your time doing other stuff, whether this is socializing, traveling around, anything else. So for that, you have to have like really well, like see when you have what assignment. That way you can plan everything, and can also plan to easy for planning your trips, because then you know when you can leave the country and when you can't. So I think that's it. That's everything I wanted to give you. So with that all being said, I think these are the tips that previous old me from last year would have definitely helped her like smooth land into our exchange, and I hope they help you as well. And if you give this a big thumbs up if it was helpful at all, and if you're a person who want to exchange yourself in Toronto or lives in Toronto, you want to share some extra tips, feel free to do so in the comment section down below, because I'm sure I did not cover everything. But yeah, if you're looking into to see how you can spend your exchange and what things you can look into, I have like I try to document my Canada experience to the best of my abilities over here in my series that I called the Canada Chronicles. Here I kind of like shared like my exchange, and on this side I have like a video that I made on how much I spent in a day as an exchange student in Toronto. If you're interested in looking into that, I'll link it over here. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.